Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tea Time with Tuskeh. It's Thursday, the 29th of September, so sit back, relax with a cup of tea, and let's chat WoW news, content, and discussion. Before we begin, though, I'd like to discuss Tea Time a little bit. We've been doing this for a good couple of weeks now, and it's great fun. A community's being formed here, and I'm really happy about it. That said, it's also taking a little more time than I originally thought, mostly because of the time that it takes to get these videos out. Such is the nature of YouTube, you do a lot of experimentation, you see what works and what doesn't. So Tea Time works. However, I'd like to dedicate more time to making guides. I've got a lot of them planned, and I have lots of stuff to do, basically. With that in mind, between Tea Time and the streaming I've been doing, I think I'm going to make a schedule that looks something like this. Monday would be Tea Time with Tuskeh and a live stream of our Mythic Dungeon team in the evening. Tuesday would be the video on demand of the Mythic Plus Dungeon team and a live stream of the Guild's raid that evening. Wednesday would be the video on demand of the Guild's last raid night and a live stream of the Mythic Plus Dungeon team. Thursday would be the video on demand of the Mythic Plus Dungeon team and a live stream of the Guild's raid that evening, just like Tuesday. And Friday would be the video on demand of the Guild's raid the previous night and another Tea Time with Tuskeh. This way I can still release a video every weekday, which is something I don't usually do, mind you. I can also make Tea Time videos twice a week to get more stuff in there, and start getting more guides out, which is something I really want to do. The streaming schedule is dependent upon the rest of the teams I'm in, and sometimes they may not happen, but that isn't going to be too big of a deal. That's the new plan, that's what I'm going with. As I said, it's YouTube, you see what works, you see what doesn't. We're going to see how this goes. You can feel free to leave your feedback, but if you just sit there and go, I want Tea Time every day, I'm afraid that's just not something I can do. I mean, it's something I could do, but there are other things I want to do. And honestly, it's my YouTube channel, and I'd like to spend more time making guides. So that's what we're going to be doing. So without further ado, let's talk about the news. So, the Mythic Emerald Nightmare has been cleared by Exorcus, so congratulations to them, and, well, I don't really care about World First Races, so I don't have much else to say. They cleared it fairly quickly, but that's not too much of a surprise. None of the bosses here are amazingly tough, which is both a good and a bad thing, I suppose. Honestly, it doesn't really bother me that much. There are a small group of hotfixes for a bunch of bugs. You can see them on MMO Champion or on the World of Warcraft website. Nothing really too significant. There's a new PTR build for patch 7.1 as well, including some rather awesome Vrykul-themed transmog sets that you can see on screen now. I really like them, and I might even use the leather one for my rogue for maybe the subtlety build. We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to that. Patch 7.1 is looking to be pretty damn good. That's really the news for the day. Not too much to talk about, really. So let's move on to the daily tip. Today's daily tip will be regarding rogues. Now, I've been asked a lot on stream and in comments about why I'm playing one specialization or another, and the truth is that right now, all three rogue specializations are really close. So if you're playing a rogue and want to know which spec is best, let's go over them. Right now, Outlaw is doing really well in multiple target situations, like any kind of dungeon, and Il'gynoth, the Heart of Corruption in the Emerald Nightmare. Assassination is doing really well in single target situations with basically no ad swapping, like Nythendra. And Subtlety is doing really well on fights with lots of spread out targets, like Xavius. Subtlety is likely going to pull ahead of the other two in the future as you start gearing up in better and better gear, so if you want to spend your artifact power on something that looks like it's going to do best in the future, you'll likely want to put all of that artifact power into the Fangs of the Devourer for Subtlety. Moving on to the screenshot of the day. This is something cool, pretty, or interesting. You can send in screenshots via twitter.com/Tuskeh, or you can mail them to me. Today's screenshot comes in from Brady Parsons, who writes, "Standing on the Skyhole to Azeroth looks bloody awesome." And I totally agree. So this is the magical portal that warriors jump through to get to the Broken Isles and other parts of Azeroth. It looks amazing, and sometimes, thanks to a little bit of latency, you can get a moment where you're just standing in the portal after you jump in. So, nice grab from Brady, and an awesome picture of a warrior to boot. I absolutely adore the warrior class order hall. Next up, the Q&A. You can send in comments via twitter.com/Tuskeh, you can email them to me, or simply leave them in comments. First up, Damien Will asks, "So you said something in the stream that bothered me. Do you hate the Outlaw Rogue?" So, yes and no. I love the Outlaw Rogue's style, and it has some great fantasy. I love the idea of being a swordmaster with a hidden pistol, and it does some great AoE damage as well. But roll the bones. Just give me a double buff. Ah! As a Mythic Raider, having luck play such a huge part of your ability to do damage is very unsatisfying. It's just a case of, well, if you roll very well, then you're going to do really well. But if you spend time re-rolling, then that's it, you suck. Which is why both me and the other rogue in our Mythic team have switched to playing other specs when we can, even if they're a little subpar compared to Outlaw at its best, because you just don't want to be that random. Especially when you start going into Mythic raids where damage is really important. You don't want to maybe have enough DPS to get a boss down in one run, and then the next time you try the boss, you just roll badly and it changes everything. That said, Outlaw is still a great specialization, and you can do really well with it. But you just need to remember that luck is going to play a big part in your damage from fight to fight. And that's just something that I'm not a huge fan of. John Turbizan asks, Tuskeh, are you going to BlizzCon 2016? If so, are you wanting to meet with those of us who watch your show? So yes, I will be going to BlizzCon 2016, but I have a lot of plans already. I'll be meeting up with a couple of friends of mine, and it'll mostly be about spending time with my husband and them. We really need the break, to be honest. But I'll definitely be wearing a lanyard, which will be the Professor Tuskeh, and if you see me, feel free to say hello. I'm not going to do any kind of organized things, because I'm not a big enough channel to do anything like that. But like I said, if you see me, feel free to say hello. I would be surprised if anyone recognized me, but there you go. I've also got a lot of questions about why I picked Rogue and if I'll be playing Shaman. So I've already made a video about this. I made it during the pre-patch for Legion, and you can find a link in the description to that video, and it will go over in more detail about why I changed classes. But also, no, I'm not going to be playing the Shaman this expansion. Sorry, that's just how it is. I mean, maybe I will, I don't know. It's all up there. I don't make specific plans. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. Finally, Dalton Ray Stevens asks, awesome videos. Lose the Opera House, though. Never! Today's piece of music will be from Pandaria, which is still my favourite continent on Azeroth, and it will be the Brewmaster theme, which can be heard mostly whenever you do quests with Chen Stormstout. It's a great piece of music that really sells the heroic and somewhat erratic nature of the Brewmaster, so I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions for the show, any thoughts, comments, suggestions, screenshots, then you can contact me using the links in the description, or you can just leave a comment. If you want to help support the channel, then you can find a link to my Patreon page in the description as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in the world of Warcraft.